Scores of people told me stories of police brutality and aggressiveness that Kenneth Baker did. So I'm calling on each of you to do the right thing and fire Kenneth Baker and Larry Burke.
Let the record reflect that this gentleman is not a resident of the village of Cold Spring. He is not a constituent of this board. His name is he is a YouTube First Amendment activist. This is about clicks and it's about money. We are accountable. I am talking now, and I am the mayor, sir.
Don't talk to me like that. This is about accountability.
I'm going to leave. Get up and leave the court.
Address for the record, please.
I'm not going to give that. You call me,
Name and address for the record.
you can call me
sir.
Mr. Freeman.
You can call me Mayor Foley.
I'm not going to call you anything, but
Your name and address for the record.
I am not going to surrender my Fourth Amendment right to be able to speak in a public session. To be able to speak in a public session.
Sir, you've been asked. The ground rule here is your name and address for the record.
Do the ground rules get suspended? Like, do the Fourth Amendment get suspended when I come in here? I don't.
Say your piece.
All right, I'm going to tell you what is important to share for this town. Ladies and gentlemen of the village of Cold
You have
Spring.
3 minutes. Start the timer, please.
I stand before you today.
I'm sorry. If you can hold on
Excuse
for
me,
a
how
minute.
rude you are.
Excuse me, sir. No.
How
I
rude
neglected.
you are.
I neglected.
Now you're giving a
You have
time
3
limit.
minutes. That's right, and it's on the agenda. There's a 3-minute limit.
Ladies and gentlemen of the village of Cold Spring, and all the board members here, you know who I am. Mayor Foley, you know who I am as well. I stand before you today with a heavy heart, echoing the cries of the village of this Cold Spring community. Our beautiful, serene village,
Sir, you
known
are
for
a
its
resident of
warmth
this
and
village.
hospitality, has had a dark shadow cast upon it for the last 4 years by a violent, brutal, and aggressive predator, Officer Kenneth Baker. Don't interrupt me again. From local business owners to tourists, from our elderly to our youth, many live in fear due to the actions of this very individual. His reign of terror must end, and it must end now. Officer Kenneth Baker must be fired immediately. And you see how they're in collusion here. And you're going to have a lot of people seeing this. The mayor had this man here go in front of my camera to block my camera.
I'm sorry, excuse me.
It's on camera.
This gentleman was not asked to move.
Officer Kenneth Baker must be fired immediately. How did we get here? In 2019, you had a choice. You knew of Officer Baker's tainted history, a track record filled with extreme police brutality while he was an NYPD police officer. Yet based on mere recommendation by Officer Larry Burke, he was not only hired, but also given the power to patrol our peaceful streets.
Our peaceful streets.
Mayor,
You're not a resident, sir.
how dare you?
How dare you?
Stop interrupting me.
You stop
Mayor
interrupting
and
me.
the village board of trustees, you allowed this wolf amongst our flock and continue to do so. And for that, you bear the responsibility. And sadly, my story with my interactions with Kenneth Baker, who's aggressive and brutal, are not unique. And I took it upon myself to research more about Officer Baker and found a troubling history of brutality and substantial legal settlements in his past that you knew about. More recently, an 88-year-old couple, lovely couple, that comes here to the beautiful village. They came here every week to go to 1 or 2 restaurants. And Kenneth Baker terrorized them so much that the 88-year-old gentleman has PTSD, and they vowed to never come here again. And what was their crime? Their crime was the gentleman parked next to the restaurant so his handicapped wife can get out with her walker. Kenneth Baker didn't like that, and he yelled at them. He was incredibly aggressive, and so much so that they will never come here again. And when I came to the community day this past Saturday, scores of people told me stories of police brutality and aggressiveness past Saturday. Scores of people told me stories of police brutality and aggressiveness that Kenneth Baker did. So I'm calling on each of you to do the right thing and fire Kenneth Baker and Larry Burke, who removed me illegally and unlawfully on Kenneth Baker's behest from this court when the court was in session. Do the right thing. Fire him. And your arrogance and how you are not caring about what I'm saying is disgusting.
Comments are offensive and attacking.
Yes,
I've
5 seconds
been
left.
rude since I started here.
And your time is up.
And do the right thing and fire Kenneth Baker.
Let the record reflect that this gentleman is not a resident of the village of Cold Spring. He is not a constituent of this board. His name is he is a YouTube First Amendment activist. This is about clicks and it's about money.
Oh,
We are accountable.
it's-
I am talking now, and I am the mayor, sir.
Don't talk to me like that. This is
Then
about
you may
accountability.
You may leave.
This is about accountability.
You've been asked
No,
to-
you interrupted
I
me.
have asked you to leave the
You
room.
interrupted me.
I have asked you to leave the room.
Sir,
Now look at
you
this.
need to leave.
Under
You need to leave. You need to leave. Get up and leave the court. It's
Me, hey, let me have my keys are here. Excuse
I'll
me.
get your keys. I'll get your keys.
Look at this, what he's doing.
Yes.
No, this is the disgusting Village of Cold Spring Board.
Okay, everybody take a deep breath.
This mayor's behavior is absolutely disgusting, but let me point out a couple of things here. She claims that Leroy is not a resident of the actual town and therefore not a constituent. He didn't get to vote any of these people in. That is true, but is that relevant? The answer is no. Leroy frequently comes to this town. But even if he didn't, even for those of us who have never been to this town, it isn't actually relevant whether or not we live there. It was the late Martin Luther King Jr. that said injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are all caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Now, I don't know if Leroy does this for clicks, but I can tell you for damn sure that if she were to accuse me of that, I would say guilty as charged. You better believe when I make a video about a corrupt cop, about a filthy corrupt mayor, you better believe I want people to click it. I want people to see it. I want people to see the way that she acts. You better believe it. I do everything I can to get people to click that video and view it. It's definitely about clicks and views, because without the clicks and views, the people won't see what corrupt mayors like this are doing. But now let's go into the details of what Leroy was trying to address here. This village hires the worst of the New York Police Department's cops. NYPD cops can get away with just about anything. And so if you can't cut it at the NYPD because you're too dirty, then you're really dirty. And this village hires those NYPD misfits who were so bad that not even the NYPD could put up with them. And that's what Leroy's trying to address, and that's what this mayor is trying to talk over him about. This is what Leroy was trying to address right here. Kenneth Baker worked for the NYPD from 1997 to 2019. He clearly had a ton of complaints, a ton of lawsuits. Most of the complaints were unsubstantiated, which really means nothing. When you ask a cop to investigate a cop, typically the claim is unsubstantiated. But from 1997 to 2019, there is no video evidence of anything that Kenneth Baker did or didn't do in any of these complaints or any of these lawsuits. There's no video because the NYPD didn't use cameras. And so it was always the word of the complainant or the plaintiff versus the word of Officer Kenneth Baker and his fellow officers. So I noticed that he leaves in 2019. I'm sitting here trying to figure out why. What is so unique and special about 2019 that made Kenneth Baker finally just walk away after literally getting away with just about anything and everything for decades? March 6th, 2019, NYPD completes rollout of officer-worn body cameras to all officers on patrol. And in 2019, Kenneth Baker leaves. He goes to the Cold Springs Police Department. And what's unique about Cold Springs Police Department? There are no cameras. No body cameras, no dash cameras, nothing. It's highly suspicious that he got away with everything for decades and then left as soon as his actions were about to start being documented. I think that if there were cameras present for all of these incidents in which complaints were made, that Kenneth Baker just might be in prison right now. No, that doesn't happen. I'm just kidding. I think it would be perfectly clear that Kenneth Baker had committed crimes on a regular basis if all of these events had actually been documented on video for the world to see. The city of Cold Springs has a history of hiring the worst of NYPD officers. In 2012, the residents of Cold Springs demanded that Officer Scott Morris be fired. He was the supervisor at the scene of a fatal shooting of an unarmed black man in New York in 2012. He ended up resigning after community members in Cold Springs demanded that he be fired. In that incident, the NYPD kicked a man's door down and shot him in the chest. They found that he was unarmed, but they found marijuana in the toilet. The officer who shot him was indicted on manslaughter charges, but a judge threw out the case, ruling that the prosecutor had given improper instructions to a grand jury. The NYPD reviewed and reprimanded the officers who entered the apartment for showing, quote, bad tactical judgment, but found the killing legally justified. Leroy Truth was there to expose truth. The truth is that the city of Cold Spring hires dirty cops. It appears that they do it on purpose and do it knowingly. At the very least, they're doing nothing about it when it's brought to their attention, even if they didn't previously know. But what to me is more disgusting than any of this is the way that the mayor dismisses the public when things like this are brought to her attention, and tells the public, you don't live here, so it doesn't matter.